Hello, Seahawks, and welcome back to Seahawk Central.
I'm Davis Bell with sports.
And I'm Emma Tillman with news. Up next, we'll give you a rundown on Wilmington's 7th annual Bluegrass Bash, an on-campus social justice event with Alpha Kappa Alpha, UNCW soccer and baseball, and a sweet segment on the end of the UNCW men's basketball season. Last Friday, Thalian Hall hosted its 7th annual Bluegrass Bash, and what a show it was. A few hundred people gathered to watch 3 bands perform on stage, including the General Assembly Band, Sail Away Ladies, and Massive Grass. The seats were full with head nodding, clapping, and cowboy hats. With an immersive experience in mind, the stage had pews lined up behind performers for VIP guests to get an even closer concert experience of the artists, adding on to a truly memorable night. I spoke with a couple attending their 3rd Bluegrass Bash, and as Northerners stepping into the Southern-rooted music genre, here's why Joe Keller and Lisa Volkovic can't get enough of it.
We're Northerners that have been down here now 2-3 years. This is our 3rd Bluegrass Bash. We are starting to like Bluegrass a lot and just love it. We love the Thalian members.
I will say, I didn't know what bluegrass was the first time that we came. And, Joe said, oh, let's go to this bluegrass thing. And I was like, okay. And it was so good. And so this is our 3rd year that we've been here because we really enjoyed the music. It's just so much fun. It's a music genre that I was not familiar with at all.
Known for its fast-paced, banjo-driven sound, the bluegrass often gets overlooked in the music scene, but clearly that is not the case for anyone in attendance here. Now let's hear from Stephanie Rodriguez.
Thanks, Emma. Last week, the Omicron Phi chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha had what is known as Ski Week, which is a time for the pretty in pink ladies to not only showcase themselves on campus, but to also hit their organization's initiatives, which include advocating for social justice, uplifting the local community, and more. This past Wednesday, I had the opportunity to attend one of their events called Serving Justice on a Pearl Fig Platter. President of the Omicron Phi chapter, Ayani Reese-Hyman, talked about the importance of staying in tune with all things politics, especially local and national elections.
Who is running, who is saying what for what they want to hold in office. We really want to register as many young people as we can for the next local elections in Wilmington. I feel like this past election, it was just a lot of information overload because a lot of stuff was at stake. And so what Omicron Phi specifically saw is that a lot of people just didn't know what was going on or what was actually at stake.
We also heard from guest speaker Kyra Stringfield, a member of the Student Government Association, who spoke about what future initiatives she plans to advocate for, and her perspective as one of the few African Americans in SGA.
Have you guys seen all of the tours from the middle schools? A lot of the middle schools and high schools around this area are predominantly Black. So I'll see a whole bunch of tours of a lot of African American students, but then it's not reflecting in school numbers. And so I do want to advocate for what's the disconnect and how do we get all of these students that I'm seeing on tours or even camps, they just had some event the other day, how do we get them to come to this school? And so I think whenever I came to UNCW and knowing that this was a PWI, I just wanted to be in a space where I knew that I was directly connected to the higher ups. And being in there and being able to advocate on behalf of I don't want to say being in a white space and being a Black person and them hearing your voice and hearing what you have to say and advocating on behalf of a different perspective is very important.
Stringfield encourages more people of color to run for SGA positions so their voice can be heard, and they can bring a diverse perspective to the table when it comes to decision making. President of the Omicron Phi chapter emphasized the importance of keeping our generation in tune with things like World Health Organization, the United Nations, and even the national news. So when time comes for a change, we know exactly what's going on and what we can do to make a difference. Back to you, Emma.
Well said, Stephanie. Thank you. Davis, what's going on with Seahawk sports?
Well, Emma, our Seahawk athletes were busy this week, including some preseason soccer matches and more baseball excitement. However, we kicked things off with basketball. If you follow our content, you know that I'm a pretty big basketball fan, so it is with some sadness that I report that college basketball season is almost over. The UNCW men went out to Wichita and gave Texas Tech all they could handle, but ultimately came up short in an 82-72 defeat. Nolan Hodge continued his hot streak with 18 points off the bench, but the team as a whole shot just 27% from three, and ultimately the size and experience of Texas Tech got the better of our Seahawks. However, the Seahawks had a phenomenal season, finishing with a 27-8 record, their best since 2017, and achieving wins over App State, UNC Asheville, Charleston, and even Charleston. Donovan Newby had a breakout season, averaging 14, 2, and 3, and earning all CAA second-team honors. Sean Moore was the team's second-best player in his lone year as a Seahawk, averaging 9 points, 6 boards, a steal and a half per game, and earning all CAA defensive team honors. And he should have made all CAA team, too. The Seahawks bench, though, is what truly made them special, with Kamari McGriff averaging 11 points, Noah Ross averaging 8 and 5, and Nolan Hodge averaging 7 and 4. The Seahawks now look forward to the offseason, which is already in full swing. The Seahawks have had 7 players enter the transfer portal, meaning they will continue their college careers outside of a Seahawk jersey. Shane Anthony, Kendall Cave, and Matt Moore were all end-of-the-rotation guys, likely looking for more playing time at a power level. Elijah Jamison transferred in from Milwaukee and played in just 4 games this season before leaving the team for personal reasons. However, 3 of these transfers will have major impacts on the Seahawks next season. Sean Moore played 2 seasons at Fairleigh Dickinson, transferred to UNCW for this season, and is now back in the transfer portal. The 2 biggest transfers, though, in impact and physical size are Harlan Obioha and Kamari McGriff. Obioha transferred in this season from Niagara and was UNCW's starting center for the bulk of the season, averaging 9 and 6. He's reportedly received interest from some major schools, such as Mississippi State and Wake Forest. McGriff was a Seahawk for 4 years, averaging 6 points and 3 rebounds over that time. He has also received interest from Mississippi State, along with Kansas and Notre Dame, but he has also said a return to UNCW is possible. We wish all our former Seahawks the best of luck wherever they end up playing next season. However, to end on some good news, while the Seahawks search for new players, one thing they will not be searching for is a new coach. Our beloved head coach, Takeo Siddle, signed a new 5-year contract extension that includes a well-deserved pay bump for him and, quote, significant investments including NIL, budget, and staff salary increases, end quote, according to Fox Sports' John Fanta. This extension proves that not only are Seahawk fans dedicated to UNCW basketball, but so are Coach Siddle and the UNCW administration. That's all the basketball news as of right now, so let's head over to Marie with an interesting story from our soccer squad.
Thanks, Davis. Hey, Seahawk Nation, preseason soccer is in full swing, and we are looking ahead to the 11th annual Harry's Game, a men's soccer charity event which will take place this Saturday, April 5th at 6 p.m. against High Point. Named after his almost 13-year-old son, head coach Aiden Haney was inspired to hold this game by Andy Fleming, the head coach at Xavier University. In an interview with the Seahawk Digital Network, Haney said, quote, "It's a celebration of kids in our community who have intellectual or physical disabilities. Harry is everybody we come into contact with some of the challenges those kids have." Before the 6 p.m. start, there will be a pregame clinic from 4 to 5 p.m. Tickets are free for children and $5 for adults. Visit uncwsports.evenue.net to purchase yours today. Now over to Dylan with baseball.
Thank you, and welcome back to the 6th segment of Seahawks Slugger. I'm your host, Dylan Thompson, and we've got a home game stretch for the Seahawks. So let's fly down to Brooksfield where the action took place. The UNCW Seahawks opened up the busy week at Brooksfield against the Charleston Southern Buccaneers. The Seahawks jumped to an early lead with an RBI from Martin Zelenka with patience at the plate, bringing in the second run from a wild pitch. 2 more runs came in the 3rd and 4th inning with a huge hit from Brady Thompson down the third base line and a long RBI double from Trevor Lucas. Early scoring to go along with a large group effort at the mound, which pitchers allowed 5 total hits from 31 batters total. The Seahawks would add another late run from a sac bunt and would capture the early week win against the Buccaneers with a 5-3 win. We spoke with star player Brady Thompson after his 3-hit game and gathered his thoughts about his performance and looking ahead to the weekend series.
I just say that team's not the team you can take lightly. I think that our pitchers came out and dominated. We were behind them, and we got the win. It's a team win, and it was awesome. I just felt like just patience. Let them come to you. Anything early in the count, you can kind of let go, and then deeper in the count, you got to work, you got to foul pitches off and just put them in play as much as possible. Yeah, with conference play coming around, I feel like any win is basically really important. I feel like the momentum we have from this game can take us to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday against A&T, who's we got to take competitively. Like, they're a good team, and we need to get a good 3-game win there for conference play, and we need to keep the streak rolling.
The Seahawks quickly resumed CAA conference play against the A&T Aggies on Friday. In Game 1 of the series, the Seahawks struggled to get in scoring position as the Aggies' pitching was too efficient for the Hawks. Despite being tied through the first 4 innings, the Aggies scored 2 runs in the 5th, which was enough to take the Game 1 with a 5-3 final. Game 2 was a game of strength and adversity on both sides. A combined 3 hits and 13 strikeouts from Zane Taylor and Trace Baker took this game to 16 total innings. Kevin Jones responded late for the Hawks with an RBI hit to tie the game at 2 late in the 15th inning. Both teams clawed for this victory, but the Aggies pulled in front of the Hawks with 2 late hits in the 16th, giving them the 4-3 win in Game 2. Game 3 was another star-stunning performance from the Seahawks all around. The floodgates opened as the Seahawks totaled 9 runs with a strong performance from Matt Gillespie with 4 hits and 2 RBIs. 5 other Seahawks had 2-hit games, such as Cole Nelson, who finished the game with 4 RBIs and a solo home run for his 2nd of the series. Previous Game 3 pitching star Cam Bagwell was in his bag again as he pitched another shutout game, allowing 0 runs and 2 total hits. A strong performance at the plate and mound gave the Hawks a 13-0 Game 3 win that was much needed. This win puts the Hawks back at an even record of 14-14 with a huge week ahead. That's the Full Swing recap here on Seahawk Slugger. I'm your host, Dylan Thompson. Go Hawks, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Dylan. Glad the boys were able to end that weekend on a high note.
Well, that wraps up this week's episode of Seahawk Central. Next week, I'll be covering Wilmington's Pride and Joy, the Azalea Festival. Until then, if you have any newsworthy stories, email us at SeahawksCentralNews@gmail.com.
And as always, follow at Seahawk Central Sports _UNCW on Instagram for all our updates and exclusive content. I'm Davis Bell with Sports.
And I'm Emma Tillman with your news. We'll see you next week.